Hello, my wonderful kids. You are welcome again to another Cafdil Science Lessons. And from Cafdil Studios, this is your teacher, Ernest Ato Bento. Okay, today we are going to go through another interesting lesson. And you are always reminded that these lessons are based on the NACA GES curriculum you are using at school. So today we are on cycles for strand 2, so strand 1, Earth Science. Today we are going to look at the sun and the earth, and this lesson will focus on the sizes of the sun and the earth. The size of the sun and the earth. So if you look at the sun and the earth, are they of the same size? And if one is bigger than the other, what is the importance we get from the one that is being bigger and the one that is being smaller? So these are what we are going to talk about in this lesson. Good. At the end of the lesson, you will be able to explain the sizes of the sun and the earth. The sizes, so you will know whether the sun is bigger than the earth or the earth is bigger than the sun. 2, you'll be able to explain the benefits of their sizes. The benefits of their sizes. And then 3, explain what will happen if the earth was bigger than the sun. Explain what will happen if the earth was bigger than the sun. So this is what I want you to learn at the end of this lesson. I believe that if you pay attention and then we all go through this lesson, you'll be able to learn all these things. Good. Now let's begin the lesson. This is the sun and the 8 planets. So this is the sun. This is the sun, and we have 8 planets here. You have the 8 planets. You have the Mercury, you have Venus, we have Earth, we have Mars, and then we have Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and then Neptune. So these are the 8 planets with the sun. 8 planets with the sun. The sun is at the center of the solar system. So the sun and the planets forms the solar system, and the sun is at the center of the solar system, and the sun does not move. So this is the sun. The sun does not move. It's at the center of the solar system, and all the planets are moving around the sun. And you see that every planet has its own track. You see the lines here. Every planet has its own track. You cannot move to another planet's track, and this track is what we call orbit. This track is what we call orbit. So every planet is orbiting the sun on its own track. All the 8 planets move around the sun, as you see. All the 8 planets move around the sun, but the sun does not move. The earth is always moving around the sun. It never stops. So this is the sun, and this the earth. The earth is always moving around the sun, just like the other planets, and it never stops. Now let's look at the sizes of the sun and the earth. The sun and the earth. Look at the sun here and look at the earth here. I know that you know sizes, and you tell me that the sun is bigger than the earth. So look at how big the sun is and how small the earth is. The sun is bigger and wider. When we look at, say it's bigger, look at the whole size. It's very big and wider. We are measuring from here to here. See that the sun is far wider and bigger than the earth. Now let's look at this. This is the earth. This is the earth. Very beautiful. This is the earth. And this is the sun. And look at the size of the earth and the sun. Now we are going to look at something. How big is the sun? So if the earth, the sun were to be a container, how many of the earth will fill the sun? That is what we are going to look at. That will help us to see how big the sun is. So we are filling the sun container with the earth. So we are counting down here. We are counting down here. So let's count it. So this is the sun. This is the sun. And we are filling the sun with earth. So how many of the earth will fill the sun? 300,000, 400,000, 500,000, 600, 700,000, 800,000, 900, 1 million. Wow. So we have filled the sun with the earth to the brim, and now the sun contains 1,300,000 earth inside it. So that is how big the sun is. The sun can take 1,300,000 earth sizes into the sun. So this is how big the sun is. Look at the whole earth. Even look at the whole of Ghana. Not to talk of all the countries on earth. And the sun can take 1.3 million of the earth inside it. Then the sun is very, very big. And the sun is very, very big. So the sun is bigger and wider than the earth. And the sun can take 1.3 million of the earth inside it. Now the sun is also heavier than the earth. The sun is heavier than the earth. So as you see, the sun is heavier than the earth. So let's see. How many earth? Right now we are comparing. How many earth? We have a beam balance here. How many earth will fill this beam balance that will have the same weight as the sun? That is what we are checking here. The sun is heavier than the earth, and we want the earth and the sun to be of the same weight. So we are filling this beam balance with earth, sizes of the earth. So we are counting here how many of the earth, when we put it inside this beam balance, will have the same weight as the sun. So we are counting. So 334,600 sizes of earth is equal to the weight of the sun. 334,600 sizes of the earth will have the same weight as the sun. So you see how heavy the sun is. You see how heavy too the sun is. So the sun is bigger and heavier than the earth. And I believe you have been convinced with this experiment. Now let's look at, right now that we see that the sun is far bigger and heavier than the earth. What benefits do we get from the big size of the sun? If the sun is bigger than the earth, what benefits do we get? The big size of the sun makes it possible to provide enough sunlight to the earth. Look at the size of the sun as we watched. It can only provide 12 hours of light to the earth. So if the sun were to be smaller, then it means that you have just 1 hour, 2 hours, or even 4 hours light on the earth. So the big size of the sun makes it possible to provide enough light. At least from the big size of the sun, we can have 12 hours. Out of the 24 hours, we can have half of the hours as day, and we can have half too as night from the big size of the sun. It helps us to get 12 hours of light so that we can go about our normal activities. The big size of the sun makes it possible to provide enough warmth to the earth. The big size of the sun helps keep us warm on earth. You see, when the sun starts shining, it takes 8 minutes for the light of the sun to reach the earth. 8 minutes. And when it reaches the earth, it keeps us warm. It keeps us warm. So you see that during the night, after 12 midnight, you see that the weather becomes very cold. The weather we have from 12 midnight is not the same weather we experience when it is 12 noon. 12 noon, the weather becomes hot. By 12 midnight, the weather becomes cool for us. So the sun keeps us warm. The big size of the sun brings daytime to large portion of the earth. So it brings daytime to large portion of the earth. The large size of the sun gives energy to many plants that provide food and oxygen for life. So that's another benefit. The plants benefit from the light of the sun. If the sun were to be very small, and it means that plants will not get enough sunlight to prepare their own food. And you know that we also depend on the stored food of these plants to live on earth. And when the plants also prepare their food, they give out oxygen as waste. That is what we also take in to give us energy, break down the food we eat and give us energy to work. So the big size of the sun gives the plants energy to provide food, and we also benefit from it. Now let's look at the benefits of the earth too. The earth is small. So what benefits does the earth being small also provide? The earth provides a home for living things and everything they need to live and grow. So even though the sun is bigger than the earth also gives us home, gives us shelter. And the earth also provides everything. We have soil on the earth that helps plants to grow. We have air on earth, in the earth atmosphere, that helps us to breathe. So the earth also provides us with a home and anything that we need to live and grow on earth, even though it is small. Human beings, plants and animals can live on earth because there is enough food, water and air. So the earth is small, but we get food, water and air. Now, what if the earth was bigger than the sun? What will happen? Think about it. We have learned that the sun is bigger than the earth, and you saw it. Right now, the question is, assuming the earth is bigger than the sun, what will happen on earth? Think about it. If the earth was bigger than the sun, what will happen? Good. There will be small amount of light on earth. So look at the sun here. And look at how big the earth is. There will be small amount of light. So we can even have 2 hours of day. And the 22 hours will be night. And you can't go to school for 2 hours. Other than when you are going, you have to add candle. You have to get your small bobo. You have to get your small lantern. So that when the sky becomes dark, you can use it in the classroom. So if the earth were to be bigger than the sun, there will be small amounts of light on earth. There will be total darkness in most of the part of the earth. Some parts of the earth will not experience day at all. There will be total darkness because the earth shines just on a small portion. The sun shines just on a small portion of the earth. So even though the earth is rotating, not all the sunlight will get to certain parts, especially at the top of the earth and the down of the earth will not experience light. So there will be total darkness. Some parts of the earth will have 24 hours of darkness throughout. Most parts of the earth will be very cold because the heat of the sun will not get there. The heat of the sun will not get there. So most parts of the earth will be very cold. There will be hunger because plants will not get enough sunlight to prepare their food. There will be hunger. As you see the boy here, very hungry. There will be hunger because plants will not get enough sunlight to prepare their food. We also depend on plants for food. The animals that we also eat, most of them depend, the goats, the sheep, the grass cutter and the rest, they all depend on plants for food. So if the plant does not produce enough food that we can also depend on, then it means that we will die out of hunger. There will be less oxygen too. There will be less. Animals breathe in oxygen. Human beings also breathe in oxygen. And we get oxygen when plants prepare their food. They bring out oxygen as waste. So if plants don't get enough sunlight to prepare their food, that means there will be less oxygen. And it will affect life on Earth. Good. Kids, we are almost at the end of the lesson, and today we looked at the sizes of the Earth and the Sun. And we are all convinced that the Sun is far, far bigger and heavier than the Earth. So the Sun is bigger, wider, and heavier than the Earth. Good. So that is the assertion that when you look at the size of the Earth and the Sun is far bigger and heavier than the Earth. Now, let's see what we have learned by answering these questions. The Earth goes round the, we have space, moon, sun. Good, sun. The Earth goes around the sun. Which of the following heavenly bodies does not move? We have sun, earth, moon. Sun, earth, moon. Which of the following heavenly bodies does not move? Good, it's the sun. Which of the following heavenly bodies provide enough light and warmth? Moon, sun, earth. Good, sun. Good, sun. Is it good that the sun is bigger than the earth? Is it good? Yes or no? Yes. Say yes. Good. And then if the earth was bigger than the sun, there will be dash amounts of light on earth. If the earth was bigger than the sun, there will be dash amounts of light on earth. Good. Small amount of light on earth. Small amount of light on earth. Good. Kids, as usual, let's try our hands on these questions. 1. State 2 reasons why it is good for the sun to be bigger than the earth. Say 2 reasons why it is good for the sun to be bigger than the earth. And then to mention 2 things that will happen if the earth was bigger than the sun. Mention 2 things that will happen if the earth was bigger than the sun. Good. As usual, I hope some of you to your devices are ready. Just scan this QR code to begin your exercise on this lesson. Let me remind you that you can also enjoy all these lessons on our social media handles. On YouTube, go to Cafdil Edu, Cafdil Edu, EDU, and on Facebook, go to Cafdil Cape Coast. I'll give you some few minutes to go through this activity. Hello, Kate. You are welcome back. I believe you are all able to go through the activity on the screen. Today, we looked at the relative sizes of the Earth and the Sun. And I believe you have learned something new today. Until I come your way again with another interesting Cafdil science lesson, this is your teacher, Ernest Ato Bento. Bye-bye.